Marvelous late-night host and quick-witted comic Craig Ferguson has a natural talent for expression. Many of the female guests on The Late Show have fallen head over heels for his magnetic personality and charming charm. A love that Ferguson recently revealed had a significant influence on his life, though. He revealed to the world with a dash of humor, honesty, and nostalgia who genuinely owns the title of his life's love. As a result of this news, many are curious about the woman who won over one of the most lovable TV celebrities. Identify Her. Was the show the starting point for their romance? Come investigate this disturbing news with us. Comedian, actor, writer, and TV personality Craig Ferguson was born in Scotland and now lives in the United States. His 2009 interview with South African Archbishop Desmond Tutu garnered him a Peabody Award, and he is most renowned for anchoring CBS's late-night chat show, The Late Show with Craig Ferguson. Craig Ferguson came into this world on May 17, 1962 in the Glasgow suburb of Springburn. Ferguson was born into a working-class household and spent his formative years in the exciting and sometimes dangerous Glasgow of the 60s and 70s. He was born into a family of four. His mother, Janet Ferguson, stayed at home to raise him, while his father, Robert, was a postal worker. As a child, Ferguson had a reputation for having a wicked sense of humor, which would come to characterize his professional life. Though he overcame several obstacles in his youth, Ferguson dropped out of high school at 16 years old due to his academic struggles and feelings of being an outcast. Punk rock, in particular, provided him with comfort despite these early hardships and had a profound impact on his identity as a teenager. Ferguson started an apprenticeship after dropping out of school to become an electronics technician, but he soon came to the realization that this wasn't his calling. After deciding to make a name for himself in show business, he got his start playing drums for the punk band The Bastards from Hell, now known as Dream Boys. A love for performing blossomed in him throughout this time, causing him to delve into stand-up comedy. Following an anxious debut in comedy, he adopted the persona of Bing Hitler, a moniker he had stolen from Peter Capaldi, in an effort to mock the fervently patriotic native folk singers who seemed to infuse every public performance in Scotland. The role was a smashing success for Ferguson at the 1986 Edinburgh Festival Fringe after his debut performance in Glasgow. But Ferguson was already talking about retiring Bing by year's end. Following her Edinburgh Festival breakthrough, Ferguson had television appearances as Confidence in Red Dwarf, as well as on STV's Hogmanay events in the 1993 Christmas special, One Foot in the Algarve. Paul Whitehouse and Helen Atkinson Wood co-starred in a 1990 Granada television comedy pilot called The Craig Ferguson Show. Success in musical theater was another area Ferguson explored. He made his stage debut in 1991 playing Brad Majors in the Rocky Horror Show stage production in London. His role as Father McLean was staged at London's Union Chapel in 1994 as part of Bad Boy Johnny and the Prophets of Doom. Returning to the Edinburgh Fringe that year, he played Oscar Madison in The Odd Couple. After Rick Siegel, who would later become Ferguson's agent, saw him perform at the Edinburgh Festival and advised he migrate to America, the musician relocated to Los Angeles in November 1994. He made his American acting debut opposite Betty White and Marie Osmond in the 1995 ABC comedy Maybe This Time, playing the character of Baker Logan McDonough. His breakout role in the United States was from 1996 to 2003 on The Drew Carey Show when he played Mr. Wick, the boss of the titular character. He explained that he was trying to compensate for generations of English actors who had done terrible Scottish accents by playing the part with an exaggeratedly aristocratic English accent. He blamed James Doohan's portrayal of Montgomery Scott on Star Trek for inspiring his vengeance in his comedy spectacular, A Wee Bitter Revolution. His unconventional ways of terminating employees stood out about him, and he nearly always let Johnson go, the most prevalent surname among the employees who will be let go. His departure from the show in 2003 did not prevent him from appearing as a recurrent character in the final two seasons or in the 2004 series finale, which aired in two parts. While filming his segments for The Drew Carey Show, Ferguson would spend his downtime writing and working in his trailer. His filmography includes Saving Grace, I'll Be There, and The Big Tease, in which he also starred. In addition, he directed the Best Picture winner at the Aspen, Dallas, and Valencia Film Festivals, I'll Be There, which he also produced. Although Craig Ferguson received praise for his work on The Drew Carey Show, his breakthrough came on The Late Show, when he went from being a popular character actor to a respected late-night TV host with a distinct style. Following Craig Kilborn's departure from The Late Show in January 2005, Ferguson assumed the helm, despite his fame as Mr. Wick on The Drew Carey Show. Ferguson was mostly unknown to the general American public during that time because late-night television was ruled by well-known figures like David Letterman and Jay Leno. Nonetheless, Ferguson's impact was immediate. When it came to hosting, Ferguson did things in an unconventional fashion. He added a breath of fresh air to late-night comedy by deviating from the typical format of monologues, sketches, and interviews. Rather than rehearsing his lines, he would often launch into an unscripted cold open, addressing the crowd in a conversational tone. Differentiating him from his contemporaries was this spontaneous flair. And his unfiltered humor and charm won over viewers in no time. During his time on The Late Show, Ferguson was known for his unique talent for combining humor with genuine honesty. His struggles with addiction, his path to citizenship, and the death of his father were just a few examples of the heavy subjects he was not afraid to address. He connected with his audience on a deeper level and gave the act more depth through these vulnerable times. One of the show's high points was the interviews with Ferguson. He was unusual among late-night hosts in that he seldom used canned responses or canned banter. In contrast, he had real talks with his guests, even if they went off course sometimes, which resulted in hilarious and unexpected moments. He had a natural way of making people feel comfortable, and his charisma and humor made the interviews seem more like casual conversations than promotional stops on a media tour. One of the show's endearing quirks was the way he interacted with Secretariat, a pantomime horse, and Jeff Peterson, a voiced robotic skeleton sidekick. The show's distinctive odd humor and its ability to stand out from other late-night programs were both enhanced by these absurdist flourishes. Being a part of The Late Show was a huge success for Ferguson, who gained a devoted following and a lot of attention from critics. His 2009 Peabody Award-winning interview with Archbishop Desmond Tutu showcased his deftness and intelligence when discussing weighty topics. It was in April 2014 when Ferguson made the announcement that he was quitting the show after nearly a decade on broadcast. The December 19, 2014 episode was his last, and it was a joyous tribute to his hosting career with cameos from many of his beloved guests and a touching farewell. An era of late-night television came to a close with his departure, but his impact on the medium was substantial. Coquette Productions announced in October 2013 that Ferguson would take over hosting duties for the syndicated game program Celebrity Name Game in late 2014. The original proposal and pilot for the CBS primetime series occurred in 2011, and Ferguson has been involved with the project ever since. An initial order of 180 episodes was placed for the series in April 2014. On September 22, 2014, the syndicated series premiered. Ferguson took home 2 daytime Emmys for her hosting work on Celebrity Name Game Outstanding Game Show Host in 2015 and 2016. The cancellation of the show after 3 seasons was announced. The King of 7 Billion was an ABC comedy pilot that Ferguson joined in 2015 to star in as Prentice Porter. Sadly, no network picked up the show. His history talk show Join or Die with Craig Ferguson premiered on February 18, 2016. Ferguson got the tattoo on his forearm after becoming an American citizen. It was an homage to a political cartoon by Benjamin Franklin that appeared in the Pennsylvania Gazette on May 9, 1754. On each episode, Ferguson is joined by 3 historians and comedians for a lighthearted debate on a different topic. Past topics have included the most disastrous presidential campaign, the most influential founding father, and the most groundbreaking invention. As they encourage viewers to voice their opinions on Twitter, Ferguson was the host of the American game show The Hustler on ABC from January 20, 2021 to April 21, 2022. One competitor is secretly identified as the Hustler and given all the answers before the show begins, while the other 4 work together to win a cash prize by answering Ferguson's trivia questions. At the game's conclusion, 2 of the truthful competitors have been eliminated. If the other 2 want to prevent the Hustler from taking home the full reward, they need to pick the Hustler right. The debut was on January 4, 2021, and the series returned to its normal time slot on January 7, 2021. The show reportedly ended its run in April 2022 after airing on Thursdays at 10 p.m., spanning 2 seasons and airing a total of 19 episodes. Like his complicated personal journey, Craig Ferguson's romantic life has been full of ups and downs. Ferguson has been married 3 times and has been quite open about his marriages, sharing details of each with the same level of candor and self-reflection that characterizes his public presence. Anne Hogarth, a fellow Scot, was Ferguson's first wife in 1983. Ferguson got married before he became famous and before he migrated to America. Divorced in 1986, the marriage didn't last long. Ferguson wed fitness trainer and bodybuilder Sasha Corwin in 1998. This union garnered more attention. The couple had a son, Milo Hamish Ferguson, in 2001, when Ferguson was just starting out in the United States as a professional. The joy of having a kid did not prevent the 2004 divorce from finalizing the marriage. Ferguson has maintained close relationships with both Sasha and her mother, even after the divorce. In interviews, she has talked highly of Sasha, highlighting their shared respect and their ability to co-parent. The Vermont art dealer Megan Wallace Cunningham is Ferguson's third and current wife. On December 21, 2008, the pair tied the knot in an intimate ceremony held on the property owned by her family. Despite her husband's celebrity, Megan has stayed out of the spotlight for the most part, and the couple's relationship has been marked by stability and mutual support. They welcomed a son, Liam James Ferguson, into the world in 2011. Now we can finally answer everyone's burning question: who is Craig Ferguson's soulmate? Could it have been Sasha, his second wife, or one of the many women he had wooed throughout his shows? On The Stern Show, Craig Ferguson recently admitted that he asked Sharon Stone out on a date following her appearance on The Late Show. As for Craig's evening with Sharon, he just mentioned that they had supper. I gotta be honest, the whole time I was thinking about that scene in Basic Instinct. Craig believed the date was a waste of time as it was too similar to their TV interview, and he couldn't help but imagine Sharon in one of her most iconic movie scenes. I think we both made it through it pretty well, Craig confessed. After meeting his future wife Megan, Craig quickly became engaged and never looked back. He claimed that becoming a taken man was something he felt happy about. According to what Craig told Howard, once they met, that was it. Truthfully, I believe it rescued me. If I had tried, I probably would have looked foolish. Their relationship seems to be a solid and long-lasting one, and Ferguson has often said that Megan gives him stability and perspective. Their marriage has brought him immense joy, especially after the difficulties of his previous relationships. He has even gone so far as to call her the love of his life. Ferguson has crafted humorous and reflective stand-up routines and talk show monologues out of his personal experiences with love and marriage. His followers have been moved by his openness regarding the highs and lows of his romantic life, particularly the difficulties of keeping romances afloat while being in the public eye. After leaving The Late Show, Craig Ferguson's versatility as a host, actor, and producer was on full display in his other television undertakings. His television appearances include Rachel Ray, Countdown with Keith Olbermann, The Howard Stern Show, The Daily Show, Loveline, The View, and Late Show with David Letterman. He has also appeared on Late Night with Conan O'Brien, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and The Howard Stern Show with David Letterman, Kevin Pollak's Chat Show, The Dennis Miller Show, The Price is Right, The Soup, The Talk, Real Time with Bill Maher, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. In 2014, on April Fool's Day, he appeared as a guest presenter on The Price is Right, and he co-hosted Live with Regis and Kelly alongside Kelly Ripa. In 2009, Ferguson appeared in a live-action cameo on Family Guy's We Love You, Conrad. On January 10, 2006, he presided over the 32nd Annual People's Choice Awards. He was the host of CBS's nationally broadcast Boston Pops Fireworks Spectacular from 2007 to 2010. He also performed at the 2008 White House Correspondents' Association dinner in Washington, D.C. On April 26th, Ferguson has provided his voice for a number of animated features. On Futurama, he voiced the character Susan the Boyle, a spoof of the Scottish singer Susan Boyle. He performed stand-up comedy in both New York and Las Vegas. He was the featured performer at Montreal's Just for Laughs festival. In addition, Ferguson recorded his Boston stand-up performance in October 2008 for an A Wee Bitter Revolution special that aired on March 22, 2009 on Comedy Central. A character from Ferguson's film Saving Grace was the inspiration for the British comedy drama Doc Martin, and Ferguson was credited with authoring 12 episodes of the show. Ferguson made an appearance in a SpongeBob SquarePants special called SpongeBob's Truth or Square on November 6, 2009, playing the role of himself. He played the role of a tabloid journalist in the September 2013 season finale of Hot in Cleveland. Former co-star and regular Late Show guest Betty White was reunited with him on the show. In March 2014, when the show made its return, Ferguson reprised the character for multiple episodes. A 2-hour talk show on the Comedy Greats channel and Faction Talk on Sirius XM satellite radio, Ferguson debuted The Craig Ferguson Show on February 27, 2017. Nonetheless, May 11, 2018 was the airing date of his most recent show. Sony Pictures Television announced in January 2023 that Craig Ferguson will host a new half-hour syndicated late-night chat show. Sony Pictures Television will distribute channel Surf with Craig Ferguson, which will be produced by Whisper North. Ferguson has also dabbled in writing. In 2006, on April 10th, his book Between the Bridge and the River was published. He was a guest speaker at several author events, including the Los Angeles Festival of Books. Milo, his eldest son, and Adam, his grandpa, are the recipients of the novel's dedication. A sequel, tentatively named The Sphinx of the Mississippi, is in the works, as he disclosed in an interview. In addition, he said in an interview with David Letterman in 2006 that he plans for the book to serve as the debut installment of a trilogy. In order to get his memoirs published, Ferguson inked a contract with HarperCollins. From his time as a punk rocker, dancer, bouncer, and construction worker to his ascent to stardom as an actor and comic in Hollywood, American on Purpose, The Improbable Adventures of an Unlikely Patriot, delves into his journey to become an American, answering questions about how and why he did it. He became a citizen of the United States on February 1, 2008, and he appeared on The Late Show to livestream his swearing in and the citizenship test. In the U.S., his book was released for sale on September 22, 2009. The audiobook was nominated for a Grammy for Best Spoken Word Album on December 1, 2010. To promote her 2009 novel Married Lovers, Jackie Collins made an appearance on The Late Show in July. Because Collins adored Ferguson and his show, she said that he served as inspiration for a character named Don Verona in her book. In Sunlight or in Shadow, anthology collecting works inspired by the paintings of Edward Hopper, was edited by Lawrence Block and included a short story written by Ferguson. Craig Ferguson's versatility and wide popularity are on full display in his work outside of The Late Show, which includes voice acting, historical discussions, game programs, and sitcoms. He is much adored by television viewers for his charisma, intelligence, and hilarious sense of humor.